John Maxwell puts it this way, that everything rises and falls on leadership. We have seen the rise of a society like Singapore within a few years, a few decades, from being nowhere to being somewhere, because one man called Lee Kuan Yew decided to inspire change in the hearts of people. We have seen transformations in nations like Malaysia, where in the 1960s they deployed a couple of their farmers and researchers to come to Nigeria and pick our palm seeds. And now are they the largest exporter of palm products in the world? Leadership. Now, whenever you see degeneration, we talked about degeneration some days ago, how that you leave a plate of hot food on a table and you return in an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours and there's degeneration. Whenever you see degeneration, it's because somebody somewhere is not taking responsibility for the state and the condition of whatever it is that is degenerating. So degeneration is an indication of the leadership gap, the absence of leaders. The absence of leaders. God made man, planted him in the garden, and he said, tend this garden. Tend this garden. So man's responsibility is not just to attend, it's to tend. Oh, I attended the family meeting. No, tend the family. I attended the course. No, tend. In other words, be responsible. When you don't learn to tend, you are forced to bend. So there will be compromise, there will be weakness, there will be a loss of strength, character, value. One of the greatest needs of any society is not raw material. One of the greatest needs of any society is having leadership material. Japan has no natural resource. Are we aware of that? No natural resource. Yet they are the second biggest lender to the United States, coming very close to China. After the Second World War, Japan was in doldrums, upside down. I mean, millions and millions of people had been afflicted with sicknesses and diseases because of the bomb blast of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And they started what they call the Kaizen principle. They began to teach values. They began to communicate the ideals of a society that they were emotionally connected to. And over a period of 3 generations, now the first generation realized that they were never going to be the beneficiaries of whatever it was they were doing. But by the 3rd generation, Japan emerged as a superpower. I strongly believe that regardless of the crisis that Nigeria is in right now, because of the quality of leaders in this room, our nation will still rise to the top. Amen. I still believe that. I still believe that regardless of how bad things are, regardless of how many potholes there are in the road, how much road there is around the potholes, that regardless of systems that are not working, if one person in this room will be able to embody the ideals we're going to communicate over a period of, say, 45 minutes, that Nigeria will emerge as the giant of Africa, not only in its appellation or nomenclature, but in reality. So then, key question, what is leadership? I wish we could interact, but let me just flow because of time. John Maxwell says that if a man calls himself a leader and he looks behind him and he has no followers, he's not a leader, he's only taking a stroll. Because even though leadership starts with leading yourself, it cannot be called leadership if you walk alone. Liverpool got it right when they said, you'll never walk alone. Somebody said, oh, it's lonely at the top. Yes. But it's only lonely if you take no one there with you. So true leadership doesn't have to be lonely, because leadership means you're far ahead enough to command respect, but close enough to establish connection. You're far ahead enough to inspire hope and command respect, but you're close enough to be humane, close enough to understand, close enough to empathize, close enough to connect and to bring people closer to their desired destination.